So Jesus starts his Sermon on the Mount in verse 3 with, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." The poor in spirit are those who are lowly, those who have a humble estimation of themselves, those who recognize that they cannot bridge the gap to God with their own righteousness. They despair of their own righteousness and recognize how unworthy they are in themselves. They recognize the truth in the verse Isaiah 64:6, which says that our good works, our good deeds are like filthy rags. They're like bandages that we're banding up a bloody wound or a menstrual rag. That the blood just bleeds through. It doesn't stop the source of the problem, but the blood bleeds through and they become dirty and they have to be thrown out. Good for nothing. They recognize that forgiveness and right relationship with God, true righteousness, can only be found through the mercy and grace of God and through the imputed righteousness of Jesus Christ. No man can enter the kingdom of heaven. It's like the parable in Luke 18:9-14 of the Pharisee and the tax collector. The Pharisee's there praying, saying, "I thank you that I'm not like all of these sinful people. I tithe, I fast." He's saying, "I'm good enough, Lord, to come before you." But the tax collector, it says he beats his breast and he says he can't even look up. He can't even look to the heavens. He says, "Forgive me, Father, have mercy on me, a sinner." And Jesus says that man was the man that was justified. Because entering the kingdom of heaven requires poverty of spirit, to recognize our own unworthiness to enter in and our own inability to be righteous and bridge the gap to God. And those who are poor of spirit are on the cusp of the kingdom of heaven. They're so close. All they need to do is repent and believe, put their trust in Jesus and what he has done for them, and they will enter into the kingdom of heaven. They receive God's grace and mercy, and they enter into the kingdom of heaven. They receive salvation, and their sins are washed clean. Only those who are poor in spirit can come before God and be made right, because they are relying upon what God has done for them, not what they can do for God. And when the kingdom of heaven comes, it comes inside of them, it transforms them, and it brings them joy and peace, and the presence of God comes. They have right relationship with God, and truly they have heaven here on earth, true blessedness and true happiness. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.